gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the wonderful, talented, marvelous Tish!
This feels pretty good. Okay, hi. Thank you very much, Sandra. I go by Tish. Everybody calls me Tish. My real name, however, is William R. Tisherman, and I pretty much went by Billy growing up, and then I went to college, and I started to write poetry, and William R. Tisherman wasn't cutting it, so I kind of changed my name to a pen name, W.R. Tish, because everybody called me Tish anyway. Then I go home, first semester after college, and my father says, "Oy vey, you circumcised your name!" But everybody still calls me Tish. And as Sandra said, I am very lucky. I am a wine writer and speaker, and I actually consider myself a recovering wine critic. I was the editor of a wine magazine for 10 years, which is a pretty good job, but you get a little tired of it. You know, I can still eat and drink, and now, in fact, I get to eat and drink better than I ever did because I get to do wine dinners and tastings. That's my new gig. This is almost criminal. I get paid to eat and drink. I am a professional speaker who is expected to lubricate the audience. It doesn't get much better than that. Now, are some of you out there into wine? Okay. I saw you on Jones Beach this weekend with the Cabernet Dude tattoo. That was you, right? Okay. Now, some people out here are probably still intimidated by wine, just a little bit. Well, I can make it easier for you because 2 simple steps can have you running with the wine set. First thing, hold the glass by the stem. Pinky in, please, not out, okay? Now, when you go to a tasting or a party where there are lots of wine, falutin people around, what you do is you sidle up to someone who sounds like he knows what he's doing. It's usually a guy. And you listen. You need to do the sniff and talk the talk. So when that person says, lemon, definitely lemon, you just do the same thing. Meyer lemon. And then he'll look at you and say, this person knows what he's talking about. Then he'll go on to the red wines and he'll say, cherry, definitely cherry. Bing cherry. And then when they get into the really heavy duty stuff, the crazy smelling, deep, rich burgundy or something, and he says, tar, I get road tar. Route 66. But be careful. After a couple of these, he'll start following you around. So be careful what you wish for. But that's how to become a wine snob. Now, I don't really think I'm going to give up my other job to do stand-up comedy because I've done some math. When you go to a stand-up comedy club, there's a 2-drink minimum. When I put on a wine dinner, it's an 8-drink minimum, okay? I like those odds. If you're not doing well at a comedy club, it gets a little hairy. People start to throw things, fruit, rotten tomatoes, anything they can get their hands on. At a wine dinner, the food is usually so good people don't want to throw it. Maybe a sprig of parsley, a little rosemary. I haven't been hit by much more than an herb or spice in 5 years. But if I'm not going to do this, you may be wondering, well, why is he doing it right now? Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I've got something to get off of my chest. And stand-up comedy is actually a lot cheaper than therapy. And this is it. I am obsessed with food. Here I am, a wine guy. I think wine, I breathe wine, I talk about wine, I make a living with wine, but all I can think about is food. Now, some people, all they can think about is sex. Me? Just food. Okay, I think about sex too. I fantasize about the chicken of the sea mermaid. And you know what? The other night I woke up in a cold sweat thinking that Charlie the tuna is getting the action I should be getting. It's not fair. And in the worst way, I really want to break into the food business. Some people want to get into show business. I want to get into the food business. And I'm kind of tapping that entrepreneur inside of me, and I've come up with some ideas. Mixed results. First of all, you know, bottled water is really hot. Remember when bottled water was more expensive than gasoline? Hi, Billy. My wife is here. Well, listen, I had this idea to bring in a new bottled water. They come from all over Europe. They come from Canada. They come from Maine. I was going to bring in the first Mexican bottled water. Agua más fina, yes. Didn't go over too well. So I went to cooking school. I went to this place called the Mo Butter, Mo Better School of Cooking. When I got out, I could only get job offers from greasy spoons, and it just wasn't working for me. So I went back to the drawing board, and I came up with a diet. I suppose some people in this room have been on diets before. This was a different diet. It's called the duck diet. For 2 weeks, you eat nothing but duck. Unfortunately, after that 2 weeks, you develop this 1/4 inch of fat right underneath your skin. So it wasn't a big hit. And finally, I got up the nerve to open my own restaurant. The Sloppy Seconds Cafe. All leftovers all the time. Our motto was, tomorrow's lunch tonight. But you know, in this town, somehow it didn't work. Maybe we should have delivered. I don't know. Now, maybe those entrepreneurial things didn't quite work out, but I have a new idea for a role that will fulfill my food obsession. I think that this world needs an ombudsman, a watchdog for the common man, to look out for those food crimes that just shouldn't happen, but nobody is stopping them from happening. Serving sizes. What the heck is a serving size anyway, and who's deciding it? You get a box of cereal, you turn it around, you look at that panel on the side, it says a serving size of cereal is half a cup. Who are they kidding? Whoever ate half a cup of cereal? My feeling is that a serving size is anything that you can hold in one hand. So, with Pringles, a serving size is 1 canister. And I have this idea to enact a truth in catering law. If you ever go to plan a party and you talk to this caterer and you say, okay, I'm having a party, how much does a tray of lasagna feed? And they'll say 24. Well, they're not really telling the truth, because they should say it feeds 24 ordinary people, or 10 Jews, or 3 or 4 Italians. So somebody's got to look out for that. And then, what really bugs me, candy. When I was a kid, when you were a kid, when we were all kids, a candy bar was a candy bar. You knew what you were dealing with. It was 1 serving, fit in a hand. Nowadays, they have this thing called fun size. Hey, ladies, is this fun size? That's what you get for sitting up front at a comedy club, right? Okay. But this is what I call fun size, okay? 6 inches of pure chocolate and life-size nuts. And now she's thinking, I got stuck with the fun size. Well, I'm working on that ombudsman idea, but I don't think most of America knows what an ombudsman is anyway, so I might have to pass on that. And I can always fall back on my cooking skills. And I am a very good cook. I have one dish in particular. It's fantastic, never fails. You may have heard of it, you may have tried it at home. It's called stone soup. Sure, you cook stone soup. You borrow everything from the neighbors, right? Okay, well, this is my favorite dish to make. And the reason I like cooking it is not just because I end up with a nice big pot of soup, but because when I'm cooking, I get some of my best ideas, my most deepest, brilliant thoughts come to me while I'm stirring soup. I think, therefore I am. I eat, therefore I am more. One man's sausage is another man's weenie. Which came first, the chicken nugget or the egg McMuffin? In the Thousand Islands, do they eat anything other than salad? If a souffle falls in the middle of a forest, does it still taste good? If an Italian marries a Swede, who gets to make the meatballs? And then, what is the sound of one hand stirring? Well, I'll tell you. It's the stone bumping up against the side of the pot. Thank you very much.